just drinking like a whole bottle of Bacardi every night, maybe two sometimes, for like the next
Wow.
year and a half. Yeah. And then I would have to drink the kratom in the morning to help me with my hangover. So it was like a horrible cycle. I could literally feel like my liver hurting. That's how addicted I was.
And we are here with Colleen. I'm so excited. We're trying this again.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Peek
Very
behind the
excited.
curtain. We started recording. We were having some internet issues, so we are doing it again.
It was a very windy day that day, so I like to say that's what happened. Plus, I was, yeah, in a different location, so hopefully it'll be good today. So,
Yes, now
yeah,
you're in your
thank you so much.
office. Tell
Now
us
I'm in the
where
office.
you work.
Sure, yeah. So I work at Friendly Recovery Center. Shout out to them. I've worked here since March, actually, of this year, so I haven't been here for too long.
You mean of last
Yeah.
year?
I'm sorry, of last year. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I can't believe it's 2026 already. I'm still getting into that. I can't catch up. But so I work at an IOP program and we're also partial um hospitalization program. And so it's all outpatient. And so but we have two men's houses too here in Fountain Valley and one women's house. And so yeah, so they're a growing company, but it's great. I love it.
And
Yeah.
you are a therapist,
I
right?
am a therapist. I'm a marriage and family therapist. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people think that that means that I work with couples a lot or families a lot. And I work with couples more than families actually. Because it's rare to have like a whole family, come to you for help. So I work with a lot of individuals. And so actually this company is so nice because they let me use my office here as my private practice office too. So I do that on sometimes Thursday evenings and Fridays.
Got it.
And
Okay.
so yeah, yeah.
But
And
now,
so what's that?
I was going to say, but you come to working in this career quite
Yes.
honestly because you got sober really young.
I did, yeah. I got sober when I was 21, and then I relapsed when I was 38.
So take me
Yeah,
back though to the childhood, like you were telling me last
absolutely.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't remember my parents ever being sober, like a sober childhood. I mean, I had a good childhood in a sense that we went to like my parents loved to camp, like they just loved it. I don't know if it was a release for them. My dad's from Mexico, and so he grew up in Texas, came to California when in his early 20s, met my mom in California. My mom's from Washington, and they both worked at the county of Orange, and then that's how they met and had my brother, and then they had me. And then they just had like this love of camping. So we'd go to the river, for years, as long as I can remember. They tried to take me to like Death Valley when I was in diapers. And they have like some stories about when they had like dust storms and I had like dust in my diapers and they had to leave early and stuff like that. So we did a lot of that like every other weekend up until like I was like 14 years old. But my mom was like a functioning alcoholic like this whole time that we were doing that. And as a kid, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what an alcoholic was. I thought there was something wrong with me, as a kid. Um, because she would like come home from work and she would make dinner and, this all this stuff. And then she would drink out of, those box wines, you know. Um, and then she would like pass out on the couch every night. And then my dad was going through a lot of depression at that time in his life. And he didn't get on antidepressants till he was like in his 40s. And he was never as much of an alcoholic as my mom, but he did struggle. I remember him always having a beer in his hand. And so like I have like little pictures that I would draw of my dad when I was a kid, and it would always have him with like a Budweiser in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what that was back then, you know? Um, and so because of my dad's depression, he wasn't in a spot to like really protect my brother and I, you know? I mean, he would try to, like we would hang out with him in the master bedroom when my mom was like passed out in the kitchen and stuff like that. But I would still
Passed
know.
out in the kitchen?
Oh, well, not in the kitchen. We had like I'm sorry, yeah, that doesn't sound very good. But we had like a connected dining room and kitchen, and she'd be like on the couch in the dining room, passed out. And so I would walk in the kitchen and see her there and make sure that all the stoves were off and the oven was off to make sure that the house wouldn't burn down because I had gone in there and it'd be on before. And I was just a kid, you know, and my brother was like, you know, he's 4 years older than I am, and he was just like a boy, and he just kind of kept to himself and played video games. That was his way of coping, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I was like overweight as a kid too, so I was like bullied at school all the time, and so I didn't have like anybody, you know, to talk to, and my brother like tried to be there for me, but he didn't know what he was doing, and um, so yeah, it was funny because it's like you have this dual kind of way of seeing your parents, you know, as like loving and like taking you like camping or on vacations, but also like your home life is kind of chaotic. You know, it was very confusing. And so my mom she retired like at an early age in her early 50s from the county. And so, like, so I'll back up for just a second, but I started drinking. I swear I never like, I think I started knowing what alcohol was when I was like 10 or 11, like really understanding it. And then my whole dad's side of his family, big Mexican family, was like where they were all alcoholics too. And so, eventually my parents started going camping without us and would leave us at home. And we would have parties like in junior high, like seventh grade, invite kids over and like have all this alcohol there. I don't even know who bought it for us, you know? And it was so crazy. But, um, and so, I started drinking. That happened around the time like I was like 14. I think I was like in seventh or eighth grade. And then my brother and I just like we kind of both got very, very, very much into the world of like smoking weed, drinking. My brother was in a gang, you know,
Oh,
like all this.
really?
Yeah, yeah. He went through like all the phases. He was like he was like a surfer, a skater, and a gangster. Like I remember he got into like a fight with like this Nazi gang out here one time. Yeah, and it was like Laguna Hills, you know, so it's like it's not like downtown LA or anything like that, you know, or
Mhm.
like Inglewood or like back in the day, you know. Um, but my parents, like, I think I was telling you last time we tried to meet that I was like a latchkey kid, you know? And so they weren't even home till like 6 p.m. at night. And so we had like freedom to do whatever we wanted, you know? And so it was just kind of crazy. So by the time I hit high school, I didn't really even like drinking that much. My thing was like smoking weed. I really loved that a lot. And but I would still drink anyways, you know? And so I remember high school was not fun for me at all, you know, because I was still getting bullied in high school. And my brother he already had graduated high school. And I think he moved out with his girlfriend by that time. And my parents weren't getting along, you know, my mom was still an alcoholic and my dad was still depressed and drinking off and on at home at night. And so he was a good dad to me, though, in many, many ways. Like he was like my savior in many ways, you know. And so I think it was, you know, like by the time my senior year hit, I barely. I had very bad grades. I barely graduated high school. And it was like a miracle that I even graduated from high school at that point. And my mother, one time on our camping trip, shortly after I graduated, I had just turned 19, and we were in the river camping, and she was so drunk. Like we had like a trailer that you camp at, and it had like a stepping like stairs that you step down. And I remember being outside with like my dad and some of our friends that we used to camp with, like by the fire. And my mom was so drunk, she like came down the stairs and she went tumbling, and she ended up like breaking her leg. And so we were in the middle of the desert, so we had to drive her to Arizona to like the nearest hospital at that time. And so she was in the hospital for like 3 weeks, and she ended up losing like a ton of weight, and like she wasn't drinking and stuff like that. And that was like a really weird time for me because I was like, whoa, what's happening right now? Like, who is this person? What's going on? It's like I don't know this version of my mom, and we had already gone back to California, but when she was better, then she could come back. And so all of a sudden, like she goes on like this health kick, and like she's like gonna run the marathon. And by this time, I'm like, gonna be in like 20 years old or so. And I'm just like, with nothing even said to me, really, like unfortunately, like I didn't really grow up with a mom who like taught me how to be a lady or like anything like that, um, so all of a sudden she was like turning into this other like version of a person. And I didn't really understand it because I was still stuck in like my hell, and like and she was going through this thing. And so her and my dad started training for the LA Marathon, and they ran it a couple of times. But my mom started telling me like um maybe that I should change, like, like my get healthier and stuff like that. Because we used to eat like frozen burritos and stuff like that, just whatever. She was a really good cook, but nutrition was like never a thing in our house, And so I started to see her lose weight, and I just started to feel like things were really wrong with me. And so I started running too because I was like, well, that's what she's doing. So I guess that's what I'll do. And so I started running too, and I lost a ton of weight, and I stopped eating too at that time. But it was all this time, Stephanie, like I was still drinking and smoking weed too during this time, And so and so it would happen very, very quickly. And my my parents were just, they're still not getting along. And we ended up moving from Laguna Hills to this house in Mission Viejo. And they were going to buy that house and then sell it and then move to Palm Springs to retire. They were going to fix it up and do that. That was the plan. And then, so me and my brother were just like, okay, do whatever you want. And I was just going through the motions. But when we were still living in Laguna Hills, um, I was starting to lose like all this weight, and I developed like a really bad eating disorder, and I was drinking, and my immune system was shot. It was like so shot. And I was going down to Mexico a lot because you could drink under the age of 21 down there, you know? And so I ended up going down there to Rosarito when I was 21 years old, and
I
I
thought you
got
got sober
caught
though at 19. No?
at 21.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The first time I got sober.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so
So you're at Rosarita Beach.
yeah, yeah. And so we ended up getting like caught in like this really bad storm down there, and I ended up getting really sick. And so I came home and I was just like, I was going to Orange Coast College at that time, and I was so sick and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I was not in a good place at all. And my parents were like doing their own thing. I had no idea if they were going to make it or not, or what they were going to do with their lives, and I was just trying to survive and like, um, 6 months later, I got diagnosed with tuberculosis.
Oh,
You know?
wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
The old
yeah.
TB.
Yeah, the old TV, right? Yep. But they never tested me for it because I don't think they thought that like my demographic at that time would
Uh-huh.
be someone with tuberculosis. And so I ended up getting kicked out of school, like college, and had to like go to the health department and tell everybody. And by that time, my mom was retired from the county, but my dad was still working. But at this point, they had already decided that they were going to divorce. Like they were like separating. But I was so out of it that I didn't even like notice a lot of, they were just like acting normal to me. They weren't talking or like hanging out in the same rooms with each other. It was just like two ships passing in the night. And um, so luckily my mom had time to take care of me. She didn't have to go to work. So I had like a nurse come to my house every day for like 9 months. I couldn't leave the house legally by law.
Oh,
So I
wow.
like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. And so I drank with my mom. Like we drank together every day. And
While
she
you
would
had
like buy me,
tuberculosis.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. She would buy me alcohol. And
So your mom wasn't sober because she's drinking with you, but she was also commenting on your drinking?
oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
take me, let's get past. So when do you get sober?
Yeah, yeah. So finally when I got better from the tuberculosis, like after the 9 months and I was cleared by the health department and stuff like that, then my mom ended up leaving and moving back to Washington. And I got really sick again. And then I ended up going to the emergency room at 21. And it was just me and my dad at this point living in the house. And this was right before the 2008 market crash. And so I ended up having cirrhosis of the liver because, like, yeah. And so, because I wasn't eating or anything. And my body just metabolized alcohol and I was drinking all the time. It was horrible, my disease. And like, and so that's when I first got sober in 2008. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
your mom's
Yeah.
gone, your dad's there, he's still depressed, he's
Yes.
drinking.
Yes. Yeah.
What made you
Yeah.
decide, like, oh, I have to get sober? Was it the cirrhosis? Did a doctor tell you if you keep drinking, you're going to die? Like, what happened?
I remember this Native American woman was in the doctor's office with me, and I think she had to have been from the program now looking back, and she just looked at me and she was like, "You're yellow and you're 21 years old and you're going to die." And I was like, "Oh my God." And that's the only thing I remember from being in the hospital at that time. I don't even remember, like, my family came to visit me. My mom flew back because they thought that I was going to die. And I don't remember any of that. And so I was in Kaiser for 7 days. And then um, after that, so I lived with my dad, and my dad was like, okay, I'm going to start drinking too. And he took my car keys from me, my cigarettes, my weed. I quit everything that day. So I was like cold turkey. So I was not fun to be around for like 3 weeks. And then he took 2 months off of work because no rehab in like around us would take me or any eating disorder place, nothing. Nobody would take me because they didn't have like the nurses or like I was so sick. And so yeah, so he stayed home with me for 2 months at home and the market crashed and so like That was like a big thing that we did together. So like I had to give him, and I graciously did, like gave him all of my college fund because we wanted to keep our house and not get kicked out, you know? And so I ended up like all this stuff, and I was seeing a therapist by this time. He put me in therapy too. And so that's the thing that got me to want to be a therapist because before that, I was going to be a graphics designer before that, you know? And so my whole life just totally changed. So I went back to school and I got my bachelor's and my graduate degree in
Even though
2015.
even though you did not have your college fund anymore?
No, I just applied for oh my gosh,
Financial aid?
scholarships
Yeah.
all the time, like
Oh
hardcore.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, all the time. I took out like one loan for like 2 grand, that I was able to pay that back. But I got really lucky in that regard. I went to Cal State Fullerton for both my bachelor's and my master's.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I had no program because I didn't know I mean, I knew what AA was, kind of, but it wasn't appealing to me because I only knew it from like the movies and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and like old men smoking, and the only meetings I had ever gone to were exactly that, like old men smoking,
Right, right,
and
right.
like so I was like, I still had my eating disorder, I still had mental illness. Like, I had crazy anxiety for all these years from 21 to 38. I don't even know how I did it, just white knuckling. Like, life just flew by, and then, after that, it was, I ended up starting. So then of course the pandemic happened and all that, and I ended up starting private practice during that time because it was a perfect time to start private practice, and I worked at Kaiser for about a year and that was really, really stressful. So I got out of there and I was just doing private practice
And you
and
had an active eating disorder during this time,
yes, yeah, yeah,
anxious, like mentally off. Isn't this
yes.
like all therapists? Let's be real.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I know. When somebody tells me they're a therapist, I'm like, oh, so
Uh-huh.
what have you been through? You know, what's wrong with you?
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, yeah. It was funny because like when I went to grad school, um, we did therapy with each other and they like tore us down kind of and broke down all of our traumas so we could like help others and be present for other people, but it still doesn't cure you, but yeah, most every therapist that I've met has been through something. Yeah, it is very funny. Yeah, so you're not wrong. But so yeah, so um
So you're
then when I was
38
yeah, I was
and
38.
you're like, fuck all this. I just need to take the edge off. What happened? What led to like you going back to drinking?
Yeah. So I doubt they're going to listen to this, but I was working with two really cool therapists, ladies, and then one therapist that I never met before. And I don't like to throw this word around at all, but this was like probably a textbook narcissist, like textbook, and I didn't know her. She was friends with the other therapist, and we all went on a lease together. And yeah, and so they were like, she was a problem when I worked with her like 10 years ago, but I think she's changed, you know? And so I was like, okay, whatever. And so we went on a lease together, and it was. Oh my God. They ended up butting heads so bad. And so I kind of became the middleman in that thing. And I was getting texts from her, like rage texts, cursing out, and like all this stuff all the time. And I was dealing with insurance companies too all the time. And that was before insurance companies had like all these awesome platforms like they do today. Like if any of your kids like get into like the counseling world, they'll probably have it a lot easier. but I was kind of like working in it when they worked out the kinks with all that stuff. But so I mean, she like tore the thermostat off the wall. Like we had to like pay like 3 grand each to fix it. And like it was just a nightmare. Um and so eventually one of the therapists was like, well, we should all go out to dinner to talk. Um, so we can like move past whatever's going on here. And I was like, fine, whatever. I just don't want to be a part of this. I even got the shingles because I was like so stressed out at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and like it was so bad. And I was like, I cannot sit down with this woman without a drink. I cannot do it. And she's going to give me agita to like the nth degree and I'm going to die, because it was just so much. I'd never been through anything like that in my life. And so that was even worse than, some of the other stuff that I had dealt with, But so we went to a Mexican restaurant and I thought that I could have one margarita after like all these years of being sober. Well, not emotionally sober, but physically sober. And
Do you think you were
that night,
plotting it a little bit in your head? Like, were you thinking about when they said Mexican restaurant, were you like, uh, they have margaritas? Were you like, I mean, I'm not gonna have one, but like if I was gonna get a drink, like, were you doing that?
oh my gosh, Stephanie, like I was planning my relapse, like they say you do, like two days before. It was almost like a pass, like, looking back, like it was almost like, oh, thank God somebody like gave me like a pass to kind of do this, like an excuse kind of,
Yeah,
And like I was actually really shocked because I had never thought about drinking in that way until that moment, until that part of my life, But it was bound to happen because I was spiraling, And but I was thinking about it for like, and I was looking forward to it in my head,
right, right.
And when that margarita came, and they don't know about my past because I don't trust them. I'm not going to tell them.
But they know you're sober.
They do now. Yeah. Well, that one lady, I didn't tell her anything, because I don't, the
But
narcissist.
you were living together and she never knew you didn't drink?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We had a lease at an office, a therapy office.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see.
I'm so
Okay, I thought
sorry.
you guys all
Yeah.
lived together.
No, no, no. This was
Okay.
at a therapy office. So we had
Okay.
offices together.
All right. So you're in the
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah. So I was living on my own. That was even
Oh,
worse. So I was so isolated. And so, like, I was like imagining the margarita in my head, and how good it was going to be and refreshing. And I'm like, I can just have one and I can go back to my normal life and we can just stop this fighting or we can stop this craziness, whatever's going on. I wasn't even fighting with them, It was just like I was the middleman and I wanted it to be over. And um, so we went there, and of course, that one margarita, I bought a bottle of wine later that night, you know, because I was like, oh my God, this feels so good. And so I went to the store, bought a bottle of wine, and then for the next 2.5 years, I was drinking wine for like the first year every night, like 2 bottles, working during the day virtually from home, doing therapy sessions from home. Oh, I had also picked up kratom too. Kratom is new on the market. And
uh-huh.
so that was fun. Like I had added another substance to my life, and that was kratom ruined me. It ruined my life. And so,
How do you get started on kratom? It's legal, right?
um,
You could just go buy it.
yeah. Oh, it's totally legal. I still see it like all everywhere. Like in sometimes they have it at Whole Foods in like drinks, they have like kava. Yeah. So kava and kratom are from the same plant, you know?
Oh,
Yeah. And so
so it's not
um
going to be called kratom on the label. It's called kava.
mm, it might be called kava. Yeah, I think it's a different strain, but it could be enough for an addict to get back into their disease. It could be enough of a trigger, but kratom definitely will definitely do that to you. And if you have that gene or that addiction component to you. And so, And so I still see it at like so one of the lovely things I got from detoxes last time was like vaping. So I still see it like smoke shops when I get a vape or something like that. And I just try to like keep my mouth shut, about it, but there's nothing I can do about it. But it just irks me that it's still legal, because it can be such a life ruiner. Um, but yeah, so one of my clients, the reason I got into it was because like one of my clients had mentioned that their boyfriend was using kratom to help them focus. And I'm like so ADHD sometimes. And like, I was just like, oh my God, I need something to help me focus, not realizing like how addictive it was. And this was actually even before I drank the margarita, maybe like 2 months before. And so I tried it and I really liked the effects until I didn't. But then by that point, I was hooked on it. And it was like an kind of like an opioid withdrawal when I got off of it. So I had to keep using it. So when I detoxed, I had to detox off of both of those, like alcohol and kratom. And so yeah, so I'll back up for a second. So for the first year, I was using kratom for like 2 months and then relapsed on the margarita, drinking like wine, like 2 bottles of wine, like every night, passing out. And then for the second year, I switched to Bacardi and I was just drinking like a whole bottle of Bacardi every night, maybe two sometimes for like the next year
Wow.
and a half. Yeah. And then I would have to drink the kratom in the morning to help me with my hangover. So it was like a horrible cycle. And so I could literally feel like my liver hurting, and by the last 6 months, it was so bad that I was taking Ubers to work and still, oops, sorry, the earpiece fell out. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So by the last 6 months, I was taking Ubers to work and paying for them and like still meeting with people because I had to drink in the morning. That's how addicted I was. And it was just really, really bad. And then the person that I was with at the time, he's a normie. And so we're actually together right now, but he's a normie. And he just kind of like, I came clean to him. I opened up. He didn't even know that a lot of this
You
stuff was
didn't
going
know you
on.
were drinking 2 bottles of Bacardi a night?
We didn't live together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so he didn't know until I told him. And he saw the kratom bottles, but he didn't know what it was. And so he tried to help me on his own. Um, and bless his heart, he was just like, at one point, he was like, I didn't know if I should just start drinking with you and like that would be better. And I was like, no, no, that wouldn't be better. And I'm like, unfortunately, it's not how it works. But so he ended up calling my dad and my brother and having them come over. Um, and I was so mean to them when they came over to his house one night. This was like at the very end. And they were just like begging me to get help. And I said that I would go to a meeting the next day because I just wanted them to leave. I wasn't working. I had called out from work for like weeks straight. I wasn't working at all. And my life was just going downhill. I still had my place, but barely. And, you know, then my dad was like, I can't do this anymore. And he brought over my two cousins and then my uncle and then my my fiance at the time. And we all had like an intervention. Yeah. And then I went to detox the next day because they said, they wouldn't help me anymore or
Where
let me
was your
stay.
mom?
Washington. She lives in
She didn't
Washington.
come for that.
No, No, she didn't know until I told her.
And was she
Yeah.
sober at this point?
Yes, but I didn't know that. I
Oh,
didn't know she got sober.
she
So
didn't tell you?
no. No. So like I kind of jumped over some stuff. Like I tried to get sober with my fiance alone in June of 2024. Um and then or I think it was June of 2024. And then that was like I told my brother about that and that was it. And I didn't tell my mom or my dad. And then my mom, like after I got out of that rehab, I ended up relapsing the day I got home. And then I told my mom that I was like relapsed, that I had relapsed. And she didn't come down. But she had said, well, if this helps you at all, I've been sober for a year. And it didn't help me. I was really mad. I mean, I'm happy for her now and we're like best friends, you know? But like I was like, what? I was just like, because it was like a shock, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it was like a big blow. I was like, well, I'm happy for you, but like, after everything that we had been through, to come out and say it like that. And so she's still sober. So she's been sober for like 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay, so
so,
that try didn't work, the
yeah.
rehab, and then you relapsed, and then what did the trick? So then you with after the
I relapsed
intervention?
for about 2 weeks, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And then, or yeah, for about 2 weeks. And then I went to a hospital to detox. And that was only like 3 days. And I didn't really like it there. And like I wasn't ready. And so I relapsed again right when I got out. And then it was like 7 days for like three more times. I could only stay sober for like 7 days at a time because I was like, I'll go home, I'll go back to my apartment, I'll go to a meetings, I'll get a sponsor, and that was my plan every single time. And it's like you can't do it alone, you know? It's like it's just so this last time when my fiance finally got my dad and my brother involved, my brother, like I went to this place called the Rock Center in Stanton that was like amazing. Um, they had like panels every night. I was there for 7 days this time. And this time my whole family knew about it. So I wasn't, they were going to be on my ass, you know? So I kind of was like ready at that point to get
Hmm.
sober, and they really pushed AA and they told you about sponsorship and all this stuff. And I got a sponsor the day I got out, or actually like maybe 3 days after I got out. And unfortunately, she relapsed on fentanyl twice. And so I got a new sponsor that I have now, who I love to death,
And so what
and I
was
did the
that date that
steps.
you got sober after your intervention?
September 1st, September 1st in 2024. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so,
And so you feel like being in the program, doing 12 step is what made the difference for you?
yeah, well, actually, so when I was at the detox, they had a case manager there too, so they can like help you to go to sober living and stuff like that if you need to. And so, um, I I was like, of course, you get like a couple phone calls a day, so I would like call my brother, and my brother was like, okay. He's like very stern with me, he's like, what is your plan this time? You keep and I was like, well, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna find a sponsor and I'm gonna go to meetings. And he's like, no, I hate that plan. Like that's your plan every single time. If you do that, I will never talk to you again, And I was like, oh my God, okay. And so I went to sober living actually. I kept my apartment and I went to sober living in Fullerton. And I went to sober living for about 4.5 months, and all girls. And it was a very hard experience, but it was one of the best experiences. And then I also didn't go back into work right away. So I got a wellness job as a hostess for like 2.5 months, to ease my way back like into the community. Um, at one of my favorite breakfast restaurants out there, and everybody that worked there was in recovery. Most people there, and the manager was really good about hiring people in recovery, and so after that job, I slowly got back into therapy and doing private practice 1.5 days a week. And then I found this job, and then I still have my place out here in Orange County that I'm living at right now. And now I have two adopted cats too. So,
Okay. Wow, so
yeah.
good for you. What a story. So you've been
Yeah.
sober like a year and what, like 4 or 5 months?
Yeah. So, um,
September of
yeah.
2024 to September of 2025 to January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
awesome. Wow, I'm proud of you.
Exactly. Oh, thank you so
And your
much.
brother must be relieved.
Oh yeah, he totally is. He used to be an addict too, and he had like a brain aneurysm at age 44. I mean, he was drinking a lot and nicotine and like not eating well and it's really workaholic for sure. And that aneurysm like stopped him from like everything, and like now, I mean, he still drinks a little bit, but only like at a party with family or something, like he'll have beer or something like that, which
Uh-huh.
is like nothing like I've ever seen. And my mom's sober. She's dry, but she's
Right.
I don't know that she'll ever be in a program, And my dad's sober too.
Oh, he's sober
So
now too?
yeah, 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 yeah. So everybody's sober. He's remarried now. He lives in Orange County too. So but yeah, he has a lot of health issues and stuff like that too. So I'm sure
But
that
he's
helps.
sober. What a beautiful story.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And
Of
like,
course.
I think it really goes to show you that, I mean, even though you weren't doing a program like the first 10 years of your sobriety, you were still
Yeah.
sober. But it's like that disease, it just waits. It waits to like for you to feel
Sh-
vulnerable, to get back in there. And it is so progressive, right? It's just like once you start
Yes.
up again, I don't know. It really keeps me in check. I mean, I've been sober a long time, but I think about that sometimes when
Yeah,
I
it's
start
amazing.
romanticizing or whatever. And I think like, oh, I would be back at it a lot right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I didn't realize how much it waits for you until you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, it doesn't matter how much time you have, if you like are not doing something about your sobriety, it's like just I'll find you,
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what a
yeah.
beautiful gift, Colleen. Thank you so much. Is there
Of
anything you want
course,
to
of course.
promote?
Um, I don't think so. I can't think of
Okay.
anything right now, not at
Okay,
this
well, if you
time,
think of
but
something, tell me and I will put it in the show notes.
okay,
So if people
okay,
if people
thank
want to send you a
you.
message or something on the Instagram or whatever, but if you want to be private, that's okay too. You'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for
Okay,
being
thank
on
you so much. I know
Drunkish.
that was a lot of
Thanks everybody
information.
for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Feeling like life is good.